All right. Holy crap. Welcome to InfoSec to Insanity, where we rip the bandage off of what? We rip the bandage off cybersecurity bullshit. Isn't that right, Matt?
Yes, sir. Cybersecurity bullshit. Where lipstick on pigs doesn't fly.
The pigs don't fly, right? I mean, the lipstick might.
Maybe.
I don't know. We're fighting to fix this broken-ass industry. I know that. I'm Evan Francen, 30-plus years in the trenches, still throwing punches. With me is Matt Goodacre, Logic Ninja. How's that feel?
Like it, but I like it what you called me.
Logic Ninja and my leash when the flamethrower's out?
Yes, I thought about that. Like, okay, I'm the leash. What does that mean? Like, okay, I'm cool with that.
I don't know, man. I got stuck in traffic on the way, so I'm a couple minutes late. But anyway, this is episode number 44, part 3 of our series, Accountability in Cybersecurity is Broken. Last week, we showed it's not real until it hurts, because what I'm trying to go through in these episodes are, I think, root causes for why accountability is either broken or missing altogether. So in the last episode, we talked about, people don't usually do shit until it hurts. And so we made the case that maybe it doesn't hurt enough. Tonight, we're calling out politicians, which is awesome. I haven't met a politician yet that I like. I'm going to have some that they call me friends, but I don't think I call them friends. But we're calling out politicians who don't give a shit because cybersecurity ain't winning no votes. No votes, no laws.
Zero
no
votes.
Accountability. Yep. No votes, no laws, no accountability. So CEOs and boards keep screwing us over. Expect what the fuck news, CISO humor to keep the rage in check, and fixes that don't need a ballot. This ain't your compliance webinar. So let's roll, Matt.
So I think maybe at the end of this, we add an extra part that is the people. Because in summary, all of your root causes still come back to people. And maybe we bring Mr. Steve back and get his psychology thought on why people...
Do you think this is the time to bring that up?
I don't know.
I think maybe it is. Maybe it's not. I don't know. But so you're saying add another episode to the end of this with people, and your cat just walked across the screen.
Yep, she's whatever she does. I don't know, because like each part is a root cause, but underneath all the root causes are people.
Wasn't that what we talked about last week?
Yeah.
Yes. I don't know.
All right.
I don't know, man.
I don't know either.
No, I'm cool. We can do that.
We can talk about it.
But let's stay on topic for this. Politicians. All right? You with me?
Yes.
Focus. Did you take your Adderall today?
No.
Should we wait?
Actually,
how long does it take? How long does that shit take before it takes?
I don't know. I don't take it.
What's the other one? Adderall, and then crap. It's the one I take. I haven't had to take it though this week. Maybe I should have taken mine.
The other stuff, the red pill.
No, the red Adderall's red. The white one, it's white.
For the ADD.
HD. Yeah, maybe I should have taken that.
The thing that my cousin takes too, with the stuff and junk. Yeah.
Anyway.
I actually had an event tonight at the ISSA that I do. We didn't have a meeting this month, but I put together a joint fun event with our ISACA chapter. We didn't have any sponsors, no slides, no pitches. It was just hanging out and doing top golf stuff.
All right.
Summer vacay,
All right. Cool. Politicians. Politicians don't care about cybersecurity because it doesn't win elections, just lawsuits. Do you agree?
I agree. Yeah, you can't really argue with logic.
Well, you can. You just end up looking like a fool probably eventually, which is cool. Talking about politics, man. When I talk to people about politics, that's kind of the one thing I learned about people when they're driven by emotion, and you try to talk to them about why they believe what they believe. Like, why do you believe in pro-choice or pro-life or whatever? And it seems like what people do is they either change the subject or they attack my character. And I learned that mostly talking politics, because some of the best conversations I've had is with people that don't see things the same way I do politically, but they're logical. And what you find out is, like, with logical people, when you use logic, you can find common ground. And, like, we end up not stabbing each other.
It's possible.
I think it is possible, man. Like, I'm more on the conservative side, and I don't have any problem with people on the liberal side. And one of my good friends is Matt down here, Matt Hand, and he's pretty liberal. We've had conversations till like 4 or 5 o'clock in the morning talking about different political things. It's kind of cool. All right.
Back to the politician thing, like, if you need an example, just look at all the dog and pony they do every time they bring Mr. Zuckerberg in. Like, they let that dude sit there and say, I don't know. Like, he never gives a fucking answer. It's just bullshit.
Yeah. I wonder how many people watch any of those Senate hearings.
Probably
because
none.
Most of them are theater. It's bullshit. And usually the people that they bring into those Senate hearings aren't everyday, like when we talk about cybersecurity or information security, they bring in like George Kurtz from CrowdStrike, or, some other Kevin Mandia from Mandiant. They don't bring in, people that probably represent 90% of the cybersecurity industry. Because Kevin Mandia, I keep calling him Mandiant. Kevin Mandia and George Kurtz are the exception. They're not. It's been so long since they've been in the trenches. And even when they are there's just so much political bullshit behind everything that they're saying. Whereas if you talk to like bring Matt into the next Senate hearing, what does Matt have to say about cybersecurity? No, because it's really important, because the best solutions to really difficult problems require perspectives. And when you're only getting the perspectives from, those few, nobody ever gets to hear from you.
Well, that's like when they brought in, those dudes from Loft or whatever back in like 98 or whatever it was. I mean, there was small steps forward after that, but it was like they still didn't really listen. And now most of those guys, I believe, are in agency somewhere.
Oh, you're talking about the Loft crew?
Yeah,
when they listened, I don't think anybody knew what the hell to do with it. And the cool thing is back then they were representative of the security industry. They weren't really biased. They weren't part of big tech. They weren't bought off. And what they said, still holds 100% true today. We'll have to do that. We'll have to do an episode where we just kind of go through that testimony that they made. I don't remember what year that was. It's probably,
I think it was late 98, I think.
29 years ago now.
What would be really cool is to be able to get that to happen again and like play it back to these people and be like, yo, nothing's changed. It's still the same. Even though you have all this over here.
Do you think that would make a difference? May 19th, 1998.
Boom, I told you. 98.
Would pat on the back for Matt.
I don't know, but maybe so. Now with socials, maybe that gains traction. I think the community's bigger now. Could rally behind it.
Segment 1, what the fuck happened this week? From ransomware to in Curacao. You ever been to Curacao?
Nope, I'm going in 2 months.
Yeah, Curacao is one of the ABC islands on the southern Caribbean. It's was a Dutch territory. You have Aruba, Bonaire, and Curacao.
Looks like I can get some consulting work while I'm down there.
Maybe. Curacao hacked U.S. courts. This week's breaches show what happens when politicians skip laws to hold leaders accountable for cybersecurity failures. The first bit of what the fuck happened this week is Citrix. Citrix NetScaler 0-day exploited for months. So what happened? A Citrix NetScaler 0-day, CVE, was exploited for months before disclosure, hitting critical organizations where hidden web shells and erased traces per Dutch cyber authorities. The what the fuck angle? When your enterprise gateways had been a hacker playground for months and nobody noticed. Why it matters? No laws force vendors to disclose 0 days fast. There's no law. how quickly you need to disclose a 0 day. In this particular case, Citrix knew about it, didn't release anything for it.
Well, the other side of that too is NetScaler had a huge thing fucking 2 years ago already, I think. And the lawsuit thing, but I think the other piece is like, who gives a shit? They want you to move to the cloud anyway. So just migrate your service. Don't fix what's already there,
Okay, but does it make it right then?
No, it doesn't make it right. It just means they're fucking lazy.
Lazy, or maybe there's no money in it. I mean, who knows why?
You should be able to... Yeah, I'm attacking the vendor. This is about politicians.
But I mean, and both. I mean, the thing is there is no law for vendors to disclose 0 days fast. So companies like Citrix, they can sit on fixes while hackers have their feast. And the fact that there's no law for this, I blame it on political apathy. There should be. What's the responsible thing to do? I mean, that's what laws are really meant to be, this is what it means to act responsibly in the community with the public, right? Like, it's responsible for me not to kidnap somebody. It's responsible for me not to, have road rage and shoot somebody on the highway. It's responsible for me to, if there's a flaw in a piece of software or let's say in the automobile industry, if, Toyota has the braking problems that they did, it's responsible for them to disclose that, do the recall. And there are laws, that enforce those things, but in information security and in software, there isn't. So you can have a 0 day, you can know about the worst flaw ever. On the other side, just because there's no law doesn't mean you're not open to civil prosecution. I mean, you still could be sued. You don't need any reason whatsoever to sue somebody. Anybody can sue anybody for any reason. So, I mean, just because there's no law, like criminal law, to force Citrix to disclose this, they're still open to civil liability. But the fact that we have no laws in the United States, we're, 20, 30 years into this game, and this is still acceptable behavior.
Tells you all you need to know, really.
Right. So, Matt, on all these, I want you to do the punchline.
Okay. Sounds groovy.
So Citrix is NetScaler 0 day, exploited for months.
You want me to start with this one?
I don't know. Fuck, dude. I mean, what the fuck? Do you want me to get a fucking sign? Do you want me to put it up for you? Like, hey.
Citrix got owned for months, and Congress is like, what's a 0 day?
There you go. The timing was impeccable on that. I'm sure every listener is like, fuck, that was funny as hell, if they're still listening.
Yeah, they are checked out because I'm all fucked.
No, it's all good, man. And the second one, U.S. federal courts hacked. Secrets at risk. What happened? Hackers possibly, state-sponsored, breached the U.S. judiciary's PACER and CM/ECF systems, risking sealed indictments and informant names. This is a big fucking deal. And the fact that this isn't like front page news, because
also tells you,
holy shit, right? And so what the fuck angle? When court records are less secure than a campaign promise, why it matters, no laws force federal agencies to prioritize security. So outdated systems persist until breaches embarrass leaders.
Courts, guess justice isn't just blind, it's exposed.
Boom, in your face. CyberArk and HashiCorp Vault flaws expose corporate secrets. 14 new flaws in CyberArk and HashiCorp vaults. If you don't know what CyberArk and HashiCorp are, these are password vault things. Yeah, privileged access management. Some undetected for 9 years. Holy shit. Letting hackers steal corporate secrets without passwords and chain attacks for full takeover. The what the fuck angle? Your vault, the thing protecting your secrets, has been a hacker's backdoor since Obama's second term. Think about that. Since Obama's second term.
I was like, is that really 14 years? Like,
no, 9 years. 14 flaws.
Yeah, whatever.
No, dude, it details, bro. You're a security guy. Come on. All right. Without laws mandating rigorous security testing, again, no laws there either, vendors and companies let flaws fester, banking on no one noticing.
So here's the question. Just because there's a flaw, does that mean they were used? I mean, will you ever have evidence they were used? I don't know. It's still bad. But then, like, who was working at CyberArk at that time? We might want to chase that down. Anyways, Alt's hacked for 9 years. Politicians say, sounds like a tech problem.
Yeah, it is a tech problem and a people problem, but a legal problem. I mean, it's frustrating because especially something like CyberArk, and HashiCorp, you expect these things to have undergone really rigorous security testing. And the fact, and they probably are, and you're never going to get everything, to give them the benefit of the doubt. But the fact that there is no laws around what type of testing needs to be conducted on software, on security software, how about on life-saving software? The software that's running your pacemaker, there's no law for it. So again, this is open to civil prosecution, I'm sure, but shouldn't the difference, and I'm not a lawyer, I've just dealt with them too much, but in criminal law, the difference between criminal and civil is in criminal law, the victim is the society. The victim is society, it's the public, right? And it's prosecuted by the public. Whereas in civil cases, there's somebody who has done harm, somebody or a small group of people, and then they prosecute it. So, anyway, it's frustrating as hell that we don't have, we've been making software for a hell of a long time and there are no laws to mandate how these things are tested. And I've been in enough software places where there's a rush to get out to market. One of the things we're going to talk about in another part is the short-term thinking. We've got to produce, these quarterly results because, we got to keep the stock price up. The shareholders want, certain revenue goals hit. So we don't have time for testing. It's got to get out the door. We've got to get more sales. Something's got to give, right? What are we going to say, man?
On that same topic.
We're thinking the same, Matt. You and I are like two peas in a pod right here.
Fucking jiving.
All right. Russian hackers flood Norway's dam. This is what happened. Russian hackers took control of Norway's Bremanger Dam, opening a floodgate for 4 hours, now publicly blamed to deter Moscow. Hackers turned a dam into a Russian water slide while politicians debated budgets. Without laws enforcing critical infrastructure security, leaders ignore risks until disasters force action, man. And that's one of the reasons. So we're going to talk about when we get to the main topic about the fact that politicians do whatever it is to get reelected. And the fact that cybersecurity isn't an election issue, it's not even a top 10 election issue. You sort of fake this. Yeah, of course we give a shit about cybersecurity, but where's the change? Where's the accountability? Where's the law? Where's, clarity in any of this? It's not there. And it's because it's not an election issue. And like we were talking about last week, eventually something bad will happen and people will get hurt and it will become an election issue. What we want to do as much as we can is get there before that happens. Logic tells you, we talked about logic. Logic tells you that this is coming. It's going to hit and it's going to hurt. You see enough examples, you see enough, periphery damage. But, I think sadly it is going to take until something painful happens. And then, because there's nothing to stop. I mean, there are things to stop, but, our critical infrastructure isn't in much better shape, if at all, to be honest. I've been working on Project Broken Mirror a lot the last couple of weeks. It gets frustrating because you just keep seeing more and more. And I think pretty soon we'll have enough substance and enough formality behind the code that we're writing to release it publicly so that people can play ball with us. But I'm just working on counties and school districts. You know how many schools we have in the United States? This is totally off topic. This is how many I found. Where is it? 101,245 public schools, 21,097 private schools, 13,515 school districts. It's a lot. Just in the
300
counties.
million.
Yeah.
Cut
Just
in
in
half.
the data right now for counties on county domain, right? The primary domains that the counties use, subdomains that we've discovered under those domains, and IP addresses. All the IP addresses are noted in CIDR notation, so it's not like every single IP address. Just those three things, 170,000 rows of data. And then you add on, open ports in those IP addresses and vulnerabilities and endpoints and all this other shit. I mean, it's now become too much data that I think we need to, I don't know, get better at handling our data.
Are you able
on
to
the Project Broken
separate?
Mirror side?
Are you able to separate, say, a school district's actual infrastructure versus their telco provider, or their infrastructure versus Microsoft, or is
Yes.
it like we don't care?
No, we can tell that. Yeah, you can tell that through routes, and you can tell that through IP address assignment. So, some school districts, like the state of Minnesota, for instance, this isn't a school district, but it just baffled me on how many flipping IP addresses the state of Minnesota has. They have like 4 Class B networks.
You should look up my organization.
Oh, we'll get
You'd be
there.
surprised too.
We'll get there. All right, last one. I don't know how to say this, but I'm gonna say Boygis, whatever. Boygis Telecoms, 6.4 million customer breach. What happened to third-party provider breach exposed names and phone numbers of 6.4 million telecom customers in France. The what the fuck angle? Your data is only as safe as the shoddiest vendor nobody regulated. Why it matters? Politicians dodge supply chain security laws, letting companies off the hook until millions are exposed.
Third-party breach, more like a free pass for corporate sloppiness.
Boom, sloppiness. Do you take showers, Matt?
No, never.
I took one once. It made me unsloppy. It was interesting. It desloppied me.
Sloppitized.
Yep. This week's disasters: ransomed taxes, hacked courts, flooded dams, prove one thing: politicians don't pass laws to hold leaders accountable until breaches burn them at the polls. Meanwhile, CISOs and citizens eat the fallout. Ready for some CISO humor, Matt?
Give it to me.
Give it to me. All right. Welcome to CISO Therapy Hour, where your alerts are ignored, your budget's a joke, and politicians think cybersecurity is a sci-fi movie. You might be a CISO if your risk report got buried under a senator's campaign flyer.
You might be a CISO if your incident response plan is pray the news cycle moves on.
You might be a CISO if you explain breach to a board that thinks it's a beach. Did you say breach? Beach? Why the fuck are we talking about beach in the board meeting?
EECH?
Auditors Theater, the unregulated mess. Here's the scene: a Zoom call with a corporate IT manager. Evan's coffee is cold. Matt's staring at a blank compliance sheet. Matt, you're the auditor. I'm the CISO.
Evan, why is this system still unpatched?
The board said no laws, no problem. They're waiting for Congress to care.
But the SLA says 30 days for critical fixes.
Yeah, but the politicians move on election cycles. 4 years, no patches.
Any mitigation plan then?
No, I taped a please don't hack me note to the CEO's desk. All right, CISOs are left to clean up messes because politicians won't pass laws to make leaders liable for bad security calls. Give us a CISO survival tip, man.
Let's see. Spend less money and use what you have. I guarantee you there's someone smart on your team that you're not listening to. You don't need to buy more stuff. Use what you already have. I guarantee you there's someone on your team that can take something that you already have and improve it to mitigate some risk that could either be increasing visibility or, implementing some sort of detection or response. You don't need to buy more shit.
Buy more shit. Complexity is the worst enemy of security.
Mm-hmm.
If you don't know what you have right now, why would it make any fucking sense to add more to it? How do you secure the things you don't know you have?
My vendor relationship partner told me I need to buy it.
All right. Well, here's another CISO survival tip. When your board says no budget, ask how they'll explain the next breach to shareholders without a law. Here's a key quote. I collect ignored risk reports like political promises. Pretty pointless and gone by election day. Boom. All right, segment 3. Cybersecurity doesn't win elections. So this is the primary point to the, in this series, and this is the main topic for this episode. And really, when it hit me, and this was back in probably 98, 99, Jim Ramstad, who was a U.S. representative in the state of Minnesota. I was working at Jask Software. We made Paint Shop Pro back then. And he came and was doing his campaigning thing, and he came and talked to our whole company. And he posed a question to us. We're all sitting out in the warehouse, paying attention. And he says, what do you think my number one priority is? My most important job on Capitol Hill? And I was like, and I actually raised my hand because I thought I was really smart. I was like, oh shit, I know the answer to this one. I went to civics classes in high school and paid attention. I'm like, your number one job is to represent your constituents. He said, wrong. He laughed first because he realized that how naive I was. And I thought it was like, what do you mean wrong? He said, my number one job and the number one job of every politician on Capitol Hill is to get reelected. It's not to represent your best interests. So then it only makes sense that a politician is going to focus on primarily top election issues.
Well, then, the next question would be, when did we shift to that? Because that's not what the system is designed for.
It may not be what the system is designed for, but hasn't it always been that way? And now when you think about it, how many lifelong politicians do we have up on Capitol Hill? We have no term limits.
Yes, there's way the fuck too many of that for sure.
And so here are the top 10 campaign issues, the top 10 election issues in 2025, this year. Number 1, the economy and inflation. It seems legit. Everybody should care about their money and, it makes sense. Some of us struggle to pay bills and, have things to save for, retirement, all that stuff. I get that one. Number 2, immigration and border security. And what bothers the fuck out of me about that one, number 1 is hard. That's a hard one because you have to manage that, all the time. It's very dynamic. You make, slight changes, there's sentiment involved. It's just a lot of things for managing the economy and managing inflation. The thing that pisses me off about immigration and border security is it's a simple fucking fix. It's just simple fucking fix. Right?
It's not. We got to argue about it every 4 years, Evan.
I know. And
because it just keeps people distracted.
There's these election issues that are like legit ones, I think. And then there's ones that I swear are just completely fucking manufactured by politicians because they don't have anything else to work on. And it's something that is so easy to divide themselves.
They don't want to work on anything else.
Right.
There's plenty to work on.
But, it's like, for me, it's like, it's so simple. Like, I want the right kind of people, law-abiding people that will provide value to my local community, to communities in the United States. I want all of those people to come into the United States. What I don't want is pedophiles and criminals and drug dealers and shit like that, right? Terrorists. I think we can all pretty much agree on that shit. Well, then just make that. You know what I mean? We've got like technology nowadays. We've got like facial recognition shit. We can register people when they cross the border. And the way it works now, it seems like it's a multi-year process just to get into the fucking country legally. Shit, every time I get on a damn airplane, you're doing facial recognition shit and everything. You're tracking me. You know where the fuck I'm going. You know exactly who the hell I am. You know my background. You know my criminal history. You know all this shit. Just do that with everybody coming across the fucking border. So the second one pisses me off because it shouldn't be an election issue. That should be a pretty simple fucking problem to solve and just solve it.
Should have been done, been gone, solved already.
And speaking of laws, right? It's like, it really sucks because there were laws on the books, about, if you're not here legally, if you're not in the United States legally, you get deported. That's always been the law. The problem is nobody was fucking enforcing it. There was no teeth to it. So you had a whole bunch of people that came into the United States saying, well, they're not enforcing it. I must be okay. And so they start their families. They have jobs. They're actually productive people in society. And then it's like, oh, now we decide we're going to enforce it. Like, fuck
kind of
me,
a dick
man.
move.
I mean, at some point you have to do it if you're going to do it. But I think there's
probably from the start.
There's probably a better way to do it. Well, exactly. So there's like blame on both sides. It's like on the people that are like, well, it's really bad to be kicking people out. It was really bad to let them in to begin with. We should have been doing this the right way from the beginning. Then it wouldn't be so damn painful for the people that have been there. I mean, the families, really good people. Anyway, it just sucks. And it sucks that that's an election issue. That was number 2. Number 3, healthcare. Legit. But that's another thing. Like, fix the fucking problem then. I mean, you've got like United Health, right? Is a cybersecurity fucking nightmare. United Health, I don't know what, making money hand over fist, man. I mean, billions and billions and billions and billions of dollars. And what do they sell? They sell health insurance, right? But people can't afford it. If you look at most hospitals are barely making it. 1, 2, maybe 3% profit, just enough to keep the doors open and stay up with the times. So it's not really the hospitals that are dying. I'm not the hospitals that are causing the issues with healthcare, but then you've also got the legal shit. You talk about the civil liability. When you're a doctor and you make a mistake, holy shit. I mean, malpractice insurance is expensive as hell. I live here in Mexico, and like I can go get, my wife just had bunion surgery. She had a bunion and really super quality stuff. I mean, it's the same kind of quality care that you would get in the United States, more or less. That, her physical therapy, everything was $3,500. In the United States, it would have been $40,000 or more. I got an MRI here. The MRI cost me $120, right? And why is that? Well, because we don't have the fucking bullshit insurance things driving everything up here in Mexico. We also don't have malpractice like they do in the United States. So that's not I think that's a totally fixable problem, but fuck, nobody wants to fix it. That was number 3. Number 4 is crime and public safety. I get it. That's another thing. You could probably
just
fix
start
that
enforcing
one.
your fucking laws.
Right? It brings us back to accountability.
Mm-hmm.
My dad taught me shitty choices have consequences. So if I go out and assault somebody and I get thrown in jail and I get a lengthy sentence, well, I fucking deserved it. But you've got so many people nowadays who are like, well, we don't want to enforce these laws because those people will vote. Those people will vote, right? Because like you see all the people like rioting and shit. Well, rioting is illegal. Protesting in the middle of the street is illegal. Stealing shit from stores, looting stores is illegal. Enforce it. You know what I mean? And then people will stop doing it. But the reason why, politicians won't enforce it, at least the ones that live, the mayors in those cities, even up to the governors of those states, I don't think they enforce that shit because those are votes. Instead of me like saying, hey, shitty choice, go to jail, instead of me doing that, what I'm going to say is, I get your pain. They incite it even. I would do the same thing if I was in your shoes. So there's no accountability for breaking the law, and I got your vote. I mean, again, it's not fucking rocket science solving a lot of these problems. Number 5 is education. Yeah, we got a lot of stupid people for sure. Number 6, tax policy, which sort of fits with like economy and inflation, I guess. But anyway, it was its own election issue. 7 is housing. Unless you're in California, you can just be homeless. Who the fuck cares? 8, climate change. And the fact that that's an election issue
is astonishing.
It really is. Like, what are we going to do about that? I mean, we can do whatever the fuck we want to do in the United States, but last time I checked, we're on the same planet as China and India.
Yeah.
I think we share planets. So what we could do and not make any sense at all is shoot ourselves in the foot, get rid of all fossil fuels and whatever, which would economically cripple us while China and India stomp us into the ground. But the problem is if we did that, this is the 8th most important election issue, we'd be fucking up the first important election issue. I don't know. Number 9 is AI and tech regulation, not necessarily related to cybersecurity, just in general. I think and that's driven by emotion. There's a general sense of fear. Sure. There's a general sense of fear around AI, not just AI and that it's going to someday eliminate the human race, but also that AI is going to steal my job. And so it's not so much from a cybersecurity issue. And number 10, most important cybersecurity issue, not cybersecurity, election issue is abortion. Why is that still an issue? If you want an abortion, you can get a fucking abortion. Problem solved.
Yeah.
If you don't want an abortion, you don't have to get an abortion. Again, problem solved. Why is this still an election issue? I don't know. Crazy stuff. So anyway, where is cybersecurity in all of that?
I guess you'd try to throw it in with tech regulation, but it's, as you said, it's not the same. And if you too much tech, people are distracted, and what else do you take out? Like, all these other things have been the same things for 50 years, man. People are used to the back and forth fucking arguing over this much ground on each of them.
What progress have we made?
If we could try to get cybersecurity, information security into the economy part, because of ransomware or, companies losing money. The problem is they make so much fucking money that the loss doesn't matter, because there is no law to give them a penalty that actually hurts. So it's still, what do you take? We'll just fucking pay. We'll lose 50 mil, whatever. Think about that. Like, there's people out there making this decision, like, 50 mil, whatever. Well, there's other people that, like, can't even,
eat.
Yeah.
Well, and then we're going to talk about that next week, right? The next part is the legal, how I think lawyers contribute to the lack of accountability in the industry.
We gave you a sneak peek to next week. It's an Easter egg.
Bit. Easter egg. So you mentioned political apathy, because that's one of the big reasons why cybersecurity isn't an issue. It's not a top election issue. Sometimes, people think cybersecurity is too complex for campaign slogans, so politicians ignore it. If you read the blog post, leaders face no or very few legal consequences for neglecting security, because politicians prioritize re-election over regulations. So then you're left with one of two things: either change the priority somehow, which I think the only way you're going to do that is to make this an election issue, to make cybersecurity an election issue. The weak laws let CEOs and boards cut corners, leaving systems vulnerable until breaches hit the news. And then even when they hit the news, it's money. Like you mentioned.
Golden parachute.
What's $100 million to Apple? What's $100 million to Microsoft, to any other, big tech company that's, or I just mentioned United Health. Do they actually give a shit? Well, just they'll feign that they do enough, I think, to
make it to the next news cycle.
Not face political backlash, but beyond that, So let's think of some reasons why cybersecurity should be an election issue. I think one reason is citizens pay for this. Everybody pays for it. I don't know a single person anywhere anymore. I'm sure there's places like in the Amazon jungle or the middle of Africa or something, but I don't know anybody anymore who isn't affected by cybersecurity, whether it be on their own personal devices, whether it be in shit that they have in their house, whether it be whatever. Everybody's affected by it. And so something that's that widespread, why wouldn't this be an election issue?
I just saw a write-up of a link in a calendar invite that took over the automation on someone's home network, is because it was AI or whatever. But that's fucking crazy, right? So you could have some safety locks or cameras or some things on your network at home and you click a calendar invite for a meeting and all that shit's gone. That's like real safety impact.
And my biggest concerns are, because I've been asked many times over the years, what keeps you up at night? And there's only two things that really keep me up at night with, cybersecurity. One less so now because my kids are, all adults. But one was the loss of innocence of one of my children. That they'd be preyed upon, pedophile, something, because when I was a kid, my parents, we didn't have smartphones and everything. And my parents would lock the front door because the primary way that attackers or pedophiles or weirdos would get me would be, physically, they'd be through the door. So you'd lock the front door. And nowadays, what, in my opinion, you put your kids to bed with the fucking pedophiles in bed with them.
My example that I use is, the common thing is, they're driving around in an ice cream truck, right? Trying to pick you up. Well, now with your smartphone, your kid's basically sleeping in the fucking ice cream truck.
Yeah, right? TikTok, Insta. Mm-hmm. It's all right there. All right, so here's some reasons why cybersecurity should absolutely become a major election issue. And I think that's part of what we need to do together as a community is make this an election issue. If it were an election issue, the politicians would 100% get behind it, right? Because their number one job is to get reelected. So if you make it a condition of election, this is part of the motivation behind Project Broken Mirror, which that's for another day. But number one, national security is on the line. Like cyber attacks from China, Russia, Iran, North Korea, all of them. They're all out there. And it's like this, what do you call it? Mutually assured destruction. It's kind of like the Cold War, where we're in their shit and they're in our shit. And so there's kind of this standoff. But all it takes is, let's say they expelled us from their shit. They detected us somewhere, expelled us, locked us out. Now they've got the advantage because they're still in our shit.
Yeah, we're in a cyber Cold War and everyone's shooting fucking smoke or signal flares. Just testing shit out.
Weak cybersecurity is definitely a gaping hole in our national defense. If you want, and sadly, it's like you don't want to wait for this shit to happen. And so, and I'm also not one of those people that's like the boy who cried wolf. You're not sitting here going, oh my God, dude. And there's nothing to it. There's plenty of evidence to point to this stuff. Number two, election integrity depends on it. CISO was all up in the shit with election security, thinking that cybersecurity was going to sway the election. I mean, it really started after Trump beat Hillary Clinton. That was kind of when it first started, like, the Russians, hacked the election. No, I mean, they didn't. But, and the way the voting systems are set up today, they're all pretty much disconnected, right? There's not like one voting network where everything is connected and they just tally up the results, right? They actually, every county or every election district has to take the machines, tally up the votes and submit them, and it kind of just all rolls up. But how long is it before it's going to be just a new feature, a nice convenience to where we can get up to the second election results because we can just connect them all? I doubt it's going to be very long.
That sounds like a great idea. We can monitor everything in real time, Evan.
Right.
Even attacks, we can tell in real time.
Yeah. So you couldn't hack the election in 2016, but maybe you'll be able to hack the election in 2028, 2030, 2032. I don't know. It just seems like that's where we're heading. Number three, cybersecurity is devastating to the economy. It doesn't seem like it's devastating to the economy, but it's costing people billions of dollars every fucking year. Ransomware attacks cost U.S. businesses and institutions billions annually. Hospitals are shut down, schools are disrupted, and small businesses are crippled. The cost of inaction keeps rising. It costs more today than it did last year, than it did the year before, than it did the year before. So if that doesn't, I mean, if these things don't help make this an election issue, I don't know what else to do other than beat you over the head with a 2x4. Number 4, every American is a target. Every single fucking one of you. Every single fucking one of us. From identity theft to hacked medical records. Ordinary citizens are caught in the crossfire. Now, you're always going to have some level of risk, right? But at least there's laws, there's rules for the game. There's a common understanding of what's exposed and what's not exposed, as opposed to just, I don't fucking know, just do whatever. Number 5, we're failing to hold anyone accountable. So we should make this an election issue, because the one thing, and I think it's natural, like something bad happens to you, you want payback. I want somebody to pay a fucking price for this, because I didn't ask for it. I didn't ask, XYZ company to collect my information and then expose it to attackers and then have the attackers use it against me. I didn't sign up for that shit. And even if you had you did click the, terms of use bullshit, that's bullshit. And we're going to talk about that next week with the legal things. Like, who the fuck thinks that that's a good idea?
People who benefit.
Exactly. So failing to hold anybody accountable, I want payback. I think everybody should have payback, because here's the thing, we can either all have the pain of the shitty choices, or we can just focus the pain on the people that made the shitty choices. And that's the way I do it. I don't want to pay the price for UHG making shitty choices. Number 6, critical infrastructure is vulnerable. Like critical infrastructure. For people who don't know what critical infrastructure is, it's like water treatment plants. It's like power grids, emergency services, transportation systems, smart cities, all that shit. It's exposed to different levels. But the fact that we don't have a definitive answer to what level, because there's no accountability for it. If there was accountability for securing critical infrastructure, like real accountability, we would know exactly where the fuck we stand, because nobody wants to pay the price. So accountability brings about this where the fuck are we? It's like when I talked to the state of Minnesota and I said, what's the current state of security in the state of Minnesota today? And they all looked at me like, what kind of question is that? It's a fucking question I should have an answer to as a taxpayer. Well, what kind of answer would you want? I want some objective metric, some number to tell me what level of risk I'm accepting as somebody who lives in this state. I want to know that you're actually being responsible. Here's the thing about the state of Minnesota. It's not even insurable. They can't get cyber insurance. Most states can't. Nobody's going to underwrite that risk. 7, AI and emerging tech are accelerating the risk. We continue to adopt new technology faster than our ability to use it responsibly. AI is getting crazy, man. And it's not even like me. It's experts, it's the father of AI. Who's saying, yeah, I thought it was going to be 20, 30 years before AI would kill us all. I think maybe it's going to be more like 5 to 10 now.
I mean, the AI ethics officer from Google walked away.
That's him. That's the Godfather.
Yeah. So, might need to wake up.
Might want to get out ahead of this. And it's funny because I was reading something from Sam Altman, on the release of ChatGPT 5. And he's like, yeah, I'm scared. He's basically like, I'm scared of it. I'm like, well, then fucking hold off on releasing that shit. Like, you're the CEO of the company, or I think he is. At least you're somebody with some power. Like, maybe we could hold off and be responsible with this before we just release it to the public.
Nah.
No, fuck that. That's not going to bring in the money, is it? But the fact that we have AI, and AI is as rampant as it is today, and everybody calls themselves an AI expert, and everybody's using AI for shit that it's not meant to be used for, and they don't know any different. And there's nothing. There's no law that says this is acceptable, this is not acceptable. I mean, that's a fucking powder keg. 8, the cybersecurity workforce gap is a national crisis, allegedly. If that's true, then make a fucking law to change it. And if it is true, why aren't we demanding better skilled, more skilled people on the front lines? Public institutions are constantly under attack. Every week, it's another city, it's another county, it's another township, it's another something. And 10, regulatory chaos is hurting progress. There's no national privacy law. There's no national shit law, really. with information security. It's a patchwork of laws, and some of them are criminal-ish laws, like the Computer Fraud and Abuse Act. But that was written in 1986. That was when fax machines were like the shit.
Shit was way different.
So anyway, and it's not going to change. I mean, why would it change unless somebody's going to force it to change? I mean, as an elected official, I'd much rather talk about abortion or immigration, something, climate change. I don't know. What do you got to add, Matt?
Man.
Not much. Does this fire you up? Does this piss you off?
It used to piss me off. Now I'm like so burnt down to like I'm gotten to the point where I'm just waiting for something to happen. I mean, something needs to break.
You're a warrior. You're a warrior, Matt. Fucking combat shit together. Clean your fucking gun. Let's go.
I have an axe on the wall over here I can go to town with.
But I get it. I mean, sometimes you do get beat down, but then, you know, it's things like when we talk about it in this podcast. That's why writing about it, I think talking to people, reading stories of people that suffer from the bullshit, seeing politicians feed the bullshit. Like, don't you have fucking work to do? Like, I was reading things like Gavin Newsom. I was reading some of his Twitter things. And I don't know if it's him or if it's probably like some campaign assistant. Yeah, it's probably not actually him. But assume it is. It's like, the fuck, man? How do you have time, that much time to tweet that much shit? And it's all bullshit. Like, write a fucking law that makes sense.
Well, even
fix a
then,
fucking
like,
problem.
The laws are like fucking what, 400 or 500 pages long. No one fucking understands that shit.
It's got so much fat in it, so much pork.
And usually, like, we already have an existing law. So, like, if you're making a new law, 10 pages or less, or like revising an old one, we don't need, again, complexity. We don't need more shit.
Two laws that I would love to see. One would be term limits, and two would be criminal. It's a crime if you're in public office and you lie.
Mm-hmm.
I'm talking like a lie of commission, not a lie of omission. So like when you say something like, you know, so-and-so, blah, 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 whatever, you know, because it's all fucking lies. Mm-hmm. Like so much of the shit that I read, and it's both sides, right? You see shit that Trump says or, you know, some Republican says, it's like, what the fuck? That's not true. And then same thing on the left, you know, it's like, the hell, none of this shit is fucking true. I think you should go to jail for that as an elected official. I'd sign up for that. Make that an election issue.
Oh, now you're violating freedom of speech, Evan.
And maybe that's the key to this, though, now that I think about it more. You know, we talk about how the fact that information security isn't an election issue, therefore politicians don't care, therefore we don't have good, effective laws to hold people accountable. Maybe at the root of that is that we don't hold our politicians accountable.
Probably.
What are we going to do about that?
People have been talking about term limits since I was a fucking teenager. Back to your point, like, they're not here for constituents. If they were, that would have had been done past already. Right. I like trying to make that complicated all the time.
No, that was good, man. That was good. Excellent communication skills. Top notch. All right. So who pays for political inaction? Customers whose data gets sold on the dark web after a preventable breach. Preventable breaches are the ones that are just so fucking stupid. And again, I understand that people make mistakes, right? And maybe that's part of the problem is like, well, it's just a mistake. At what point is a mistake negligent? At what point is a mistake criminal? You know, I make mistakes just like any other human being. Let's say when I'm driving my car, right? And I look to the side, blanked out for a second, and I rear end the car in front of me. I'm liable for that. Maybe not criminally, but certainly, you know, I'm going to have troubles with insurance companies and everything else. But let's say I'm texting while I'm driving, or I'm drunk, I'm impaired. It's criminal, right? So where's that line for information security? At what point is it criminal? And what point is it like obviously negligent, from a civil standpoint? These are questions that we just have to answer. We have to agree upon and then enforce the shit.
I think they don't want to plant a flag, because if you plant a flag, everybody's fucked.
Not really.
They're all sucky.
I mean, like, I plant the flag on, it's illegal to drive drunk. All right. I mean, there's the flag. If there's a flag that every organization has to have an asset inventory, the fact that you don't have an accurate accounting of how much data you have that belongs to somebody else seems criminal to me.
What are you using it for? It's probably not even being used, so get rid of it.
Well, and you treat it with that much disrespect. It's not your data. It's my data. My social security number, my address, my email, my name, my birth date. It's my shit. And the fact that you don't even have an accounting of how much of my shit you have and where you have it, why you have it, how you're protecting it. I don't understand how that can't be negligent to not have that accounting. But I don't know. Maybe I'm a dick.
Put it on the balance sheet.
Right. Here's the accountability dodge spiral. Politicians ignore cybersecurity laws. Voters don't care. Most voters don't give a shit.
They haven't felt it yet.
Right.
For reals felt it.
Leaders delay fixes. They say no law says we have to do it. Boards deny risks. It won't happen to us.
Or they say, what are our peers doing? That's my fucking answer that pisses me off so
Well, that's
much.
always a tell on negligence, right? Because the prudent man rule comes into play. Like, what would a prudent person do in a similar situation? And if everybody is doing shitty things, well, then you have a case that prudent people do shitty things. So I'm not negligent. So that's why they will always want to, I think, be in the herd with that. What's everybody else doing? Well, they're doing this. Well, then we're fine. Like,
I'm a fucking sheepdog, Evan. I'm not in the herd.
Well, it's like shitty leadership too. Like, what kind of leader just wants to be in the herd? Leaders should fucking want to lead. They should want to take the bull by the horns and go for it. All right. Anyway, some statistics, board level disconnect. Less than 30% align risk programs with business goals. Less than 30%. Think about that. Less than 30% of organizations align risk programs, and not just cybersecurity, but any really, with business goals. Healthcare exposure, 170 million medical records breached in 2024. And most people don't realize HIPAA is the number one regulation in healthcare. That was passed in 1996. The security rule was finalized in 2003. They made changes, They added another rule, the breach notification rule, everything. It's pretty much been all wrapped up for the last 10, 15 years. But the original rule was written in 1996. And in the security rule, you have to have an information security risk analysis, or that's what it says in the law, analysis, risk assessment, covering administrative, physical, and technical safeguards. Right? So it was in the law from 1996, and here we are almost 30 years later. Where the fuck are we? And the thing about HIPAA is there's no audit. HIPAA, Department of Health and Human Services, and the Office for Civil Rights is who enforces HIPAA on the cybersecurity side of things. They don't do audits. They only do investigations. So there's no teeth to HIPAA whatsoever unless something goes bad. Unless there's a breach and you report it, then you'll go on the docket to eventually get investigated by OCR. OCR is so fucking backlogged right now. It's 5 to 10 years probably before they're going to finish their investigation. And then when they do that, they fine you some number of dollars. Usually they create a corrective action plan, which is a cap. And in that cap, it's, you have to basically the cap is you got to do what the law said. No, you got to do what the law said from the fucking beginning. It's like, now you have to do risk. Yeah, now you have to do risk assessments when you should have been doing that for the last 30 fucking years. So anyway, healthcare not just on the insurance and all the other stuff. That's a fucked up industry, man. So many different ways. Another stat, cyber budgets are deficient. 15% have no dedicated cybersecurity budget. Lots of talk, little action.
Okay, I want to debate this.
I know. I think that number's off.
No, I think the number's fine. I actually think it's not bad, because if more people had a budget, we would just be buying more shit and it would be worse.
Potentially.
Because they wouldn't be spending it correctly.
It's funny. Yeah, you have a good point there, because I think when you ask people, hey, tell me about your information security program. Well, last year we spent $20 million. You know, that's usually how they justify how good their program is by how much money they spent. When in reality, if that's the way you're measuring security, run for the hills, because I would rather not spend dollars than misspend dollars. It's more risk. There's more risk involved in misspending information security dollars than there is not spending. The number one thing is I don't have a false sense of security. So at least when I'm not spending dollars, I know that my security sucks. But when I'm spending a whole bunch of money, I think my security is good, but my security might still suck. So anyway, again, no votes, no laws, no accountability, just breaches and excuses.
Usually cyber's fallen under, 1% of the IT budget.
Yeah.
So usually. It's not dedicated. Should it be dedicated?
Yeah, I agree. And justifying your budget, you justify your budget. If information security risk is risk management, you justify your budget by how much does it cost to maintain our current risk posture, assuming that we're at an acceptable level of risk, and or how much does it cost to mitigate the risks that are unacceptable? That's what justifies your budget. Where I think a lot of people are trying to justify their budgets by how much dollars we might lose if we don't put this control in place or that control in place, which is not necessarily a bad place to be, but it's a maturity thing, and most companies are never going to be there.
What was the first one you said?
Your budget is justified by maintaining your acceptable risks and mitigating your unacceptable risks. So the combination of those two things makes up your budget.
So you have to get someone to define what is unacceptable.
Correct. Yep. And I would, as your CISO, I would make the recommendations to you on which risks to me should be unacceptable and make a case for why they're unacceptable. But at the end of the day, it's your company. You hold all the strings. So if I tell you that, in my opinion, these are the unacceptable risks and it costs X number of dollars for us to mitigate these risks, you're like, oh shit, that's too much money. Well, then I need your help in telling me which one of these risks needs to be acceptable then, because it's that simple, right? I'm not spending time or money on mitigating acceptable risks.
Right. It's just waste.
Yeah. It's the unacceptable risks that I want to focus on, but not lose sight of maintaining the ones that are already at an acceptable level. Right. All right. So anyway, that's all I got for politicians suck. I think politics sucks. If we want to use the laws, if we want to use regulations to help us fix the accountability problem in information security, I think the only way you're going to do that is to make cybersecurity an election issue. If we're not committed to doing that as a community, well, then expect more of the same bullshit, and we'll have to try to find a different way to make people accountable for security, which we'll talk about next week. Next week, we'll bring up the lawyer thing, because I think they have a hand in this too, and they've made, I don't want to get myself into too much trouble.
Like they typically do.
Yeah, they have. I think lawyers like it the way it is right now, because they're making a shitload of money in legal fees. So why change it? Everybody's got fucking legal counsel on speed dial, for any kind of breach anywhere, because who's the first? You ask a lot of people, like, what's the first thing you're going to do when you have a breach?
Call a breach coach. Why do we need breach coaches when we have lawyers? What the fuck is the difference?
A breach coach works for the cyber insurance agent, the insurance company. And they're the ones that are going to coach you through what's happening on the incident and negotiate the ransom payment. Yeah, that's your breach coach. All right, segment 4, broken industry fix list. top 5 ways to force accountability in cybersecurity without waiting for politicians to grow a spine. Let's alternate this, Matt. You tell me what number 1 is.
All right. I'm going to get real for a minute.
Yeah, sit up, man. Take a deep breath. Oh, yeah, I like that. Dude, you did this. You did this right here, man. Pay fucking attention to what I'm saying right here.
We're going to demand legal liability for leaders. Look, here's the thing. We have, what is that thing? There's this whole like board program where you get like certified and shit like that. I forget what it's called. But the problem is we don't hold CEOs and the boards liable for ignoring their known security risks. That's what we need to do. Demand liability.
Demand liability. Yeah, and it is as personal as you can make it. It's got to, the person who made the shitty choice needs to feel the pain, not me, not the customers, not the shareholders. Whoever made the shitty choice, here's the pain that went along with that shitty choice. And it's quick. It's amazing how quickly people stop making shitty choices when they feel pain. So I'm with you, man. Number 2, mandate transparent breach reporting. We're starting to sort of get there, but it's not mandated. It's encouraged for sure, but most companies don't do it. Most companies don't want to participate in it. CISA, I think on this part, CISA was mandated to put these things into effect to encourage people to do it, but for people, it's not mandated. But require companies to disclose breaches within 48 hours. No ongoing investigation excuses. So as soon as the organization
now you have the SEC
learns of
thing.
it, that's not going to push it hard enough either. I mean, it's number 1, SEC only applies to public companies. So if your company's not, traded on one of the stock exchanges, doesn't matter.
It's a start, though.
No, it is a start. I agree, but we need it across the board. Like, make it just a federal law.
Right.
As soon as you find out about a breach, you have 48 hours to notify. Another thing I like about that is the people. Another thing I like about that is the people that did good preparation, good incident response programs are at a huge advantage over the ones that didn't. Because I only have 48 hours to create a message that I'm going to go public with. And if you're already prepared for it, man, your message is going to be pretty sweet. Whereas if you're a company that didn't take this shit seriously from the get-go, it's going to be a panic, a 48-hour panic of what the fuck are we going to say? It's going to be crazy. I would love that. What's another thing we can do?
This is crazy that this landed on me. It's almost like it's by choice. All right, listen here. Enforce vendor accountability. Pass regulations holding tech vendors liable for supply chain failures. Leadership rolls uphill. How does everything in tech roll downhill? It's disgusting. Fix it.
With you, brother. Fix it. So enforce vendor accountability. Number 4, make cybersecurity a voter issue. This is going to take all of us. It's not something one person can do, but run campaigns to educate citizens on how breaches hit their wallets. If not their wallets, their safety, their life, their kids, their whatever. You have to make it personal. Voters scare politicians more than hackers. So get the politicians motivated. We have to figure out some message. I don't know if it's, getting a whole bunch of famous people on some kind of campaign thing or what.
I always thought if we could get,
Kanye,
Doug to make a music video. There you go.
We'll see what we can do, maybe. I wish I had enough talent to do that. I can play piano a little bit.
You play guitar too.
Right. All right, bring it home. What's the 5th thing that you think we can do to force this issue?
Empower CISOs with authority. Give security teams veto power over risky decisions backed by legal protections. So I'm just curious what you think veto power would mean. Like, what does that look like in an organization?
I think it's, there's that's why I think you have to be, that legal protections has to be the backstop, because at the end of the day, I'm the CISO. I'm not the CEO. But I think that veto power is, no, we can't. It's almost like the same thing a CFO can do. Like, we can't do this thing because it's illegal for us to cook the books that way. That's, that accounting practice is illegal. So you can veto it. The CEO really wants to open up this brand new, this branch in this new market. Well, we can't afford it. That's essentially, the veto power, but backed by something, legal. So it's your job as the CISO to interpret, what are the legal requirements for us without being a lawyer, but being the expert, and veto shit. That's a shitty risk choice. We can't do it. It's illegal for us to do that. But right now, CISOs aren't empowered to do that. They're not leveraged enough at that level of governance within the organization. And number two, there's no law for them to back them up. No, they try to. Like, they'll try to use HIPAA.
GDPR.
If you're in healthcare. Yeah, they'll try to use HIPAA like if you're in healthcare, but everybody knows that big fucking deal. OCR is not coming unless there's a breach. Same with GLBA. GLBA, you've got, that's FFIEC for banking, and they enforce all that shit through either the FDIC, OCC, one of the regulators, and it's checklist shit. CISOs in those organizations can, they have a lot more power because it's a little more prescriptive there. But those are two industries out of how many industries, are there?
Yeah.
So here's an actionable challenge. Ask your leadership or local politician. I mean, the fact of the matter is the local politicians, they work for you. Some people are intimidated to talk to their politicians, but ask them, what laws are you pushing to hold companies accountable for cyber failures? It's a legitimate question. So if you don't feel comfortable asking your CEO or whatever, go find a local politician. Write a letter to your state senator, to your federal senator, your representative, whatever. And I'd be really interested to hear what the answer would be. And actually, I don't live there anymore, but I'll do it. I'll play this game. I'll do this challenge. Yeah. So stay tuned, because we'll go over those responses when we get back, because I'm going to ask just that simple question. What laws are you pushing to hold companies accountable for cyber failures? And then I want to see what the answer is going to be. I think it would be interesting. So key quote for this: if cybersecurity is not a ballot issue, make it one. It's our job to do that. We got to play the game. The politicians are supposed to be representing us, right? That was what I originally went with when I was asked that question by Jim Ramstad back in 1998, 1999. Your job is to represent me as your constituent. And he laughed and said, no, my job is to get reelected. Get it? Well, then I'm going to make you representing me a condition of your fucking election. Cybersecurity isn't my number one issue either, just for the note, but it's definitely in the top 10. For me, if I were to rank cybersecurity in this list of top 10 election issues in 2025, it would probably be 3 or 4. So, because it's that fucking important. Now, and it wouldn't drop down either. It wouldn't be like go off the list until you fixed it or did things to fix it. So it would continue to go up. So our job as citizens is to make this a fucking election issue. If you want to. If not, well then don't come crying when there's no shit in this for it. Those are the consequences of our shitty choices. All right. Outro. Next episode, Matt, what do we got? We want to hold our fucking, I keep swearing a lot, but we want to hold our representatives accountable. What's coming next week, man?
So next week, part 4, breach jackpot. How the legal system profits from failure. Class action lawsuits are a business model. Prevention is not.
It'd be fun to dissect that a little bit because lawyers are funny people.
I was actually ahead on this, right? With my chat overread earlier today. Kind of crazy.
Well, yeah, I mean, that's when we get through all 5 of these, actually 6 parts, because the first one was just making the case that this is actually a broken issue. But when we get through all 5 of them, it'll be interesting to see how we feel and what actions we have, from that, because part of this is, the mental health thing, talking it over with you and, trying to be a little bit entertaining. But ultimately, it's fixing this shit. It's really frustrating, being in this industry for 30 fucking years and still seeing us spin our wheels on these things. When it's so common sense, it's so logical. I mean, I was taught this as a 3-4-year-old kid, that shitty choices have consequences. Yet here we are as adults and we're not holding anybody accountable for shitty choices. It's crazy. So politicians don't care about cybersecurity because it's not sexy enough for the campaign trail. It's not. So let's make it sexy. I mean, maybe we start losing weight, get a 6-pack, take our shirts off, make it sexy. But when the next breach hits, it's you, CISOs, employees, customers who pay. Stop waiting for laws that never come. Scream louder. This is InfoSec to insanity, and we're done with excuses. So Matt told us what our next episode is. Matt, what's our call to action? We got that subscribe thing, share thing, whatever the fuck we do with that.
Don't forget to like, subscribe, drop this episode, hashtag InfoSec to insanity. Ooh, tag a politician. I love this idea. Bring them into the conversation. And if you got, questions, hit us up on the email. Show at InfoSec to insanity. We'd love to hear your stories. We'll answer them. Have we gotten any emails? Should we check the inbox?
I should check the inbox. I didn't really check it. No. Nobody was holding me accountable for that, man.
Well, I'm holding you now.
What are you going to do? What pain are you going to bring? What pain are you going to bring to my doorstep?
Give me 30 days.
Shit. All right. I better check it then. That would be cool, though. If we could get a politician to come share their piece on this. Maybe when we get closer to election cycle, we got a year, right?
Not on that influencer level, but I'm writing up an email. I'm going to drop my military history, use some AI on here to sweeten it up and send it off. We'll see. See if we get a hook.
Do me a favor. BCC me on that. I want to see it because maybe I'll reuse the same thing. Maybe we can create a template that everybody can do. And we can start forcing, start asking these questions. It should be a simple answer. Nothing, or, I don't know.
Take a look at this that's in draft, and then we'll go look and see that it includes fucking kickbacks from Microsoft or a new road or fucking new pipeline, whatever the fuck. I don't know, dude.
All right, man.
Whatever.
We'll pick it up again next week. We'll talk about lawyers. That'll be fun. If you know a lawyer that wants to come, share their infinite wisdom with us, that'd be fun.
What about that fucking the lawyer guy that was tracking down that fraudulent Minnesota guy?
I don't know. Send him an email. I should probably write the blog post first so you have something to reference.
Yeah. All right.
All right. Talk to you later.
Peace out, peeps.